But first, tonight at 6, we're learning new details tonight about the shooting of 2 Jacksonville sheriff's officers. Good evening, I'm Anthony Austin.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Crawford. Those 2 officers, 11-year veteran Michael Fox and 5-year veteran Kevin Jarrell, are recovering tonight after they were shot Friday night while responding to a suicide risk call. Now, police say 25-year-old Derek Brabham had no criminal history, but opened fire when the officers entered his West Side home. He was killed when police returned fire.
JSO says 3 women and a 19-month-old baby were inside that home at the time of the shooting, and they were the ones to call 911. First Coast News' Clark Foraker spoke with one of the women and joins us now with more tonight. Clark.
That woman, Penny Walsh, talked to me off camera for about 20 minutes today. She's the homeowner and says her daughter was engaged to Derek Brabham, the man accused of firing at the officers who returned fire and killed him. She says her 911 call tells everything. You can hear the final 20 minutes or so of a night, she says, that started with drinking and escalated to violence. Before the road was ever blocked off, Penny Walsh says only one person inside her house was drinking Kahlua. Her daughter was engaged to Derek Brabham, and the couple lived at the home with their young daughter. Walsh says multiple times throughout the night she tried to separate the fighting couple. She described Brabham as drunk. Initially, she said Brabham had his pistol out and she'd seen that gun before. Over the last 2 years, JSO had been called to the house at least 7 times. First Coast News confirmed through a calls for service report. 2 of those calls involved domestic concerns and firearms. But when Penny Walsh called for a 3rd time overnight Friday, she told 911 operators Brabham had a long gun.
The body armor that we wear does not stop this kind of rifle. There's not a lot that's designed that you could wear on a daily basis that does stop that.
She says officers were outside her home and warned Brabham was a suicide risk. They heard a shot. Walsh says it was an accidental fire when her daughter tried to take the gun away. Penny Walsh says she heard shots, and it was minutes before she realized Brabham had in fact died and 2 officers had been shot. Having had time to think about all this, Walsh tonight is torn with mixed emotions. She's a self-described supporter of law enforcement and says she's sad officers were hurt in all this. She also says tonight she's feeling a little guilt because she's the one that called 911 and she's fighting feeling responsible for a death. She says what really happened can all be heard on that 911 call, and tonight JSO cites the ongoing investigation as the reason it's not been released. In the newsroom, I'm Clark Foraker, First Coast News.